So my favorite hotel in Vegas is the El Cortez, and they actually are one of the sponsors of the CAC's Juried Art Show. And their donation is my room for 5 nights to come for the opening of the show. It's like, wow, and they're paying me. My favorite hotel, and I'm getting paid. So we checked into the Cabana Suites here. It's just one of my favorite places in all of Vegas. It's a great room, and my girlfriend and I have been having a great time. And guess which side of the bed I sleep on?
Nothing's gonna change.
Nothing gonna change me, nigga.
Nothing's
Point
gonna
blank,
change.
But hear me out though. I would never change like the sun in the sky. Just trying to fucking have fun before I die. Funny how they trying to tell me what's right. Cause if you looked up in the mirror, they would see a different picture. Acting like your words really truer than the scripture. Monk see monk do, gorilla in the midst of the trip.
So there's a tradition in the art world of juried shows. You basically get a lot of artists to submit work, and you have one gallery is going to show the work that is chosen, and you have somebody who has a status in the art world that the artists want to see their work. I'm the person with the status at the moment.
Gave a brother weed, cut him looking towards the ceiling. Give a hero time.
Most of it is artists who are just starting out, or if they've been working a long time, they've never really gotten their foot in the gallery door. Maybe there's even some people trying to get back in after some success, but for the most part it's considered what you do when you first start out or when you're just trying to break in.
Yeah, there's times I'm sublime and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm feeling real fine.
Yeah, what was I saying earlier? I want art to be bad and nasty and defunct and ugly and spat upon. I don't want it to have the prestige of academia. I want when you tell somebody, oh, that's an artist, they go, oh, that's so important. I want them to go, that's terrible. I want a stigma to art. Then art will be interesting. I'm doing my part to make art a stigma, not a prestige thing. I want it to have anti-prestige.
This every fucking day.
I bet your mama wasn't paints all green. The negative is that the artist pays when they send in their pictures to be looked at. And the money goes supposedly for a good cause. I will only do a juried show as a juror if it's a legitimate gallery space, if it's a good gallery that is known and that people are going to see the work. And the main reason is juried shows have a negative reputation for taking artists' money and not giving them value back for it. Now, it's $10 a picture. It used to be $5. Some of them, if they charged $100 a picture or something, I would not have anything to do with them. But, you know, a juried show, it's a way for the artist to just, you know, get their foot in the door. And I write about art, and I curate a lot of shows, so it's good for me to just see what's out there, because you can get really, you know, I got a lot of friends who are artists. I could, if I never saw any new art or never met another artist, I could curate shows if I lived to be 100. I know so many artists, so many good artists, and I've seen so much interesting art, but there's always stuff out there, and you want to see it, but you gotta trudge through a lot of shit. And there's a well-known artist, George Herms, told me about jurying shows. You gotta plant a lot of fertilizer to grow pretty flowers. So that's the justification for continuing with juried shows. And there's a lot of artists working today, making a living as an artist, showing in galleries, who got their start in juried shows. Some of them got their start in shows that I juried. I've been doing this so damn long. So I've got to look at 614 images. And the goal is to pick between 40 and 50, which is less than 10%. A good juried show, you want less than 10% of submissions. And over 300 artists entered this. And some people, they enter every juried show out there. Some people wait until a juror that they want to see their work is out there. I'm looking at some of this, and I can tell people are trying to appeal to me based on what they've read. And sometimes, you know, you think people have read me, what I've written about art. And I kind of appeal to the underdog a lot of the times. If the guy who appeals to the underdog rejects you, you really, where do you go from there, man? But rejection is part of it. Actually, to be rejected in a juried show, you know, you have to have a thick skin in this business. I'm an art critic, and I've been rejected in many capacities. I've been kicked out of galleries. I've been punched for what I've written. I've been not paid for what I've written. I've been told, you know, reject my articles have been rejected. You know, I got offered to write an article about that guy who painted the murals at the Facebook office, and I said, nah, I'm not really interested in that guy's art. And now his Facebook stock is worth $200 million. So, you know, I've rejected my own opportunities too. You have to have a thick skin. Like, that guy got rejected by me, but he got accepted by Facebook, so what the fuck do I know?
No matter where you go in the United States, Vegas is emblematic of an American culture that the art world exists to deny.
The first thing you see in some abstract painting is it refined or sloppy? Sloppy is an attempt to be authentic. And so much art tries to be authentic instead of just being authentic. People go to art school or read a book or see somebody and try to emulate what they're doing, and they make art that is just inauthentic. Yep, this is how I touch up the hair dye. Perfect. Yep, that's a week's supply.
Chick's digging, dude.
Yeah.
My hair's the same color. My hair's the same color as his.
Yeah.
That is my hair color.
Really?
I swear to God, man. I'm 47. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I did it.
You know what? I've been gray since I was 27.
I got gray really young too. And for a while it was working. Like, you know, you look distinguished.
You really got a good attitude.
Now I'm just old man. I said, fuck this shit, man. I'm going back to party.
Is that on film?
Oh my God. Oh man, I'm looking at something with two heads. There's this one artist, they've submitted 3 pictures, and I can't tell if they are expressionist paintings of time of a face moving, or if they are cannibals eating each other. You know, there's almost nothing more overrated than the light and space movement. I'm in a Vegas parking lot built in 1952 with light and space. And you look at art and did it take someone 10 minutes and they're submitting it to, oh my God, I looked at 614 images. I mean, there's a cityscape, you know, and it's like, in 2012, is a painting of a city. What is that supposed to say? Like, I'm painting like somebody from 175 years ago? And one thing I've learned when you're looking at images, especially on a computer screen, or when I used to juried shows many years ago with the old slide tray film slides on the screen, is when the light is coming, the black line really gets emphasized, and juried shows tend to have art in them with a lot of black lines, and there's a seductive quality to the black line of the designer in this process. And knowing that, I do try to compensate, and that's the result of having juried shows and then seeing the art in person and having a certain level of disappointment in some of it, that it looked better glowing on a screen than it does in person. Tribal tattoos are not the subject of painting. I try to be open-minded. That's where the line is. It looks good on your skin. It doesn't look good on a canvas. I challenge you to go to a museum and tell me that some modern sculpture is going to be around in 500 years when these are what is going to be prized as examples of the 20th century. You know, the funniest thing about this really is that he's smoking.
out of everything about this is the cowboys smoking, which was the most normal thing in mid-century depictions of cowboys. It was actually probably a lot rarer than ever depicted, and now it's like controversial. This is terrible. We can't. They censor that. You know, there's a stamp of Jackson Pollock from a photograph, a U.S. postage stamp of Jackson Pollock, and they photoshopped out the cigarette in his mouth. It's like, yep. But they erase history as a way of doing business. And in Vegas, they just bulldoze it down. And in the art world, they just get somebody to rip you off and do what you do a little bigger and a little more expensive. This is one of the prize winners. It's a digital ink print on paper by Margie Weir, and it's got, what I liked about it is the fact that it just has this nice, almost abstract pattern with some visual elements. When you look closer, you notice it's all referencing oil companies. You've got the X's from Exxon, you've got the Chevron horse, you've got oil derricks, you've got the fossil fuels, you've actually got the brontosauruses, the Shell from Shell Oil, all of them, the gas pump. And it's one of those ways to have political art and yet have this subtle decoration that shows you the artist's hand. It's not beating you over the head with some blunt political statement. And I don't like politics when they force art to submit to them. And this is a perfect example of politics submitting to the beauty and composition of art. This painting is called Sleeping Inside a Horse. There are elements in it that really go with movements in art and art history that are really out of fashion right now, and yet this is almost a mainstream painting for other time periods in art when taste and fashion go one way or the other. Right now we're not in an era that really privileges expressionistic painting, but I thought this was a great, bold expressionist painting, and hey, it's a great painting of sleeping inside a horse. This is called What's On Tonight, and you've got the elephant and the donkey watching television with some protests going on, and the obsessive acrylic paint application on this, I couldn't believe it when I saw it on the slide, on the JPEG looking, when I was during the show, and in person it's even more just amazing. It's Haikuhi Tatarian. It's got political undertones, but again, you have art being serviced by politics, which is such a rare thing because it's usually politics demanding that art serve its agenda. So it's a brilliant picture without the content being a subject, and yet once you get into the content, it's very, very dynamic. I mean, I don't want to jury a show that looks like every juried show out there. I want there to be something distinct, and I've got ample opportunity. I mean, I have a painting of a woman eating a pastrami sandwich, or maybe that's a turkey sandwich, turkey and tomato. Is that turkey and tomato, or is that cheese and tomato? This was the picture that I awarded the grand prize, the Cirque du Soleil Award, $1,500 prize. The artist's name is Joanna Lord. There is something totally ordinary in it, and yet something completely magic and worthy of subject matter. And what I realize is there's a trick in acting, and Marlon Brando is famous for saying that when he didn't know what to do in a scene and he really wasn't in touch with his character, he would eat because everybody in the audience could relate to eating. And in that, he was considered the greatest actor when he was at his weakest. So here's an artist who's definitely got a facile hand, great paint job, but it's like eating. We all eat, we can all relate to sandwich, lunch meats, and here it is, just the simplest act, and yet elevated to almost heroic proportions. Great picture, great painting. I keep coming back to this one. It's like, wow, cold cuts. Do I want cold cuts in my show? There's no way. There's no way. That one is not. I wouldn't. It's like, I fear, you know what the problem is? I really have to be careful to then seriously look at the art that's in the order around it. Like, you rejected me for my show, the show. Hey, it was a great painting, but it was next to this disgusting photo of, oh, I can't even tell you what was in it. It was so disgusting. Oh, so I can't go, and go, look away, move many paintings. That's not fair. I gotta, okay, you know. If I'm gonna reject you, you know, I gave you much time and consideration. There's painting that, when it's expressionistic, are you trying to be emotive? And, I'm gonna make a mess.
Or do you have a mental condition that you make a mess? Or is this a composed? Are these composed lines? Are they compelling me to feel? My biggest fear is that an artist who, like I've raved about, sneaks one in and I reject it, and then they go, I've given everybody really long ponders.
Guess what? There's a flower.
I'm not what they call in museum culture, there's a term, a lazy viewer. And a lot of curators obsess over rewarding the lazy viewer. I'm not a lazy viewer. When I look at something, man, I take it in. I swim in it. It's because I want to own it without buying. You know what I mean? Every critic has biases. I think people want to pretend, oh, I'm, you know, like a critic wants to imply they're like CNN and they're objective. But I'm biased. I'm a juror. This is my show. I mean, I look at myself as much a curator of this show as a juror. And I urge artists when they're in a juried show to not say juried by Mat Gleason, to say curated by Mat Gleason. I feel like I'm curating a show. When I curate a show professionally outside of the jury system, I would, you know, I'm jurying it anyway, right? I know a lot of artists and I know their work and I look and I select. The difference here is I don't know any of these people by name. There's been an exchange of funds for them to have the chance for me to look at it. It's you know, it's not that different. It's, you know, $10 ain't gonna make you, $10 ain't gonna break you. You know, do you want me to look at your art or not? And the money goes to this good cause. It helps fund a really good public gallery. So, you know, you look at it and you go, okay, I want to meet the artist. I'm going to put this in the show just to meet this artist.
Nothing's gonna change.